Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So this video is very important. It's going to prove definitively that I'm right and that Republicans are wrong, and any Democrats who play stupid about things are also wrong. First of all, I've always scored very high on the IQ test, very high. And historically, I got very bad grades in school. So it did not show what kind of grades you'd expect me to get in school. And there are people who are very brilliant people, very insightful people, very deep people who score low on the IQ test. Part of it is cultural. Okay, the type of people who score high on the IQ test are the types of people who study for the SAT, who study a lot for school, who are good at math and stuff like this, right? If you look at the types of tests the type of questions on the IQ test, you see that. But more importantly, when we're talking about natural genetics, right? Genetics. We know that for the last 100, almost 120 years, right? Really more than that, but the last 120 years especially, there was a very powerful movement involving millions of people around the world to sabotage black people. It wasn't just segregation and the black codes and Reconstruction and Jim Crow. Okay. The most important philosophy in the white community at the time, in terms of the philosophy that affected social interactions, the behaviors of groups, right, that affected sociological events, was the eugenicist movement and the philosophies that they propounded. So the person who coined the term eugenics said that the purpose of eugenics, the purpose of all these sterilizations, the purpose of all these social engineering activities that occurred, the urban planning, the city development, the purpose of the structuring of the schools, every aspect, right? Said all these agencies that affect social life and social control, the purpose of them was to improve or impair racial qualities. Now, this is a time where they're trying to make sure that white people and Jews rule over black people. Some of these guys were quoted as saying that the black man's future is secure as long as he doesn't become a competitor, competing with white people. And so some people honestly thought, or something like that it was magically better for these people if they did what was utterly despicable, which is to sabotage them so that they could then not be harassed for being smarter than white people and showing them up. Thus, when we look at the quote of what is the purpose of eugenics, when the guy who coined the term, Francis Galton, a high-ranking Freemason, somebody who is a statistician, he had all these awards, and he was considered like one of the top scholars at the time. He said it was to improve or impair racial qualities. What kind of qualities? Racial qualities. So it's on record that they, in a scientific way, with people from Ivy League schools, mind you, the who's who of the industry, that they sabotaged people of color, and with an emphasis on black people because of the civil rights movement, because of the Civil War, because of the slave codes, the black codes, because of the events that were occurring at the time. Pretty straightforward. We see that people were getting sterilized all the way. I'm about 43 years old. People were being sterilized forcibly, mind you, as part of the process. And that carried on into my lifetime. The last one occurred. And it came out that here in California around 2010 or so, there are women who are getting forced salpimectomies. And we all know the prison system here, the prison system here is full of people who are disproportionately black and brown. Everyone knows that here. Now, why this is important it should be obvious. One of the reasons is a lot of people never even heard the term eugenics. And when they say that there's a lot of racism and sabotage going on, they don't even talk about that. And that's the elephant in the room here. They come to the same conclusion I have without even looking up eugenics and understanding what it is. and people like David Starr Jordan, who founded Stanford University. These people designed the system to make it seem like white people are superior. And Francis Galton was instrumental in the creation of the IQ test, somebody who was trying to design a system that would improve white racial qualities while impairing black racial qualities. And as we look at the history of bringing drugs into the black neighborhood, we look at what is marketed to which groups and why, it should be clear to you that I'm right. It should be crystal clear to you that I'm right. And so when we look at who is superior, who has a superior lifestyle philosophy, well, who's low down, dirty, no good? Who would stoop to the level of sabotaging another group in a scientific manner with the who's who in their community helping them doing it, while pretending that they're not, and then pointing to the test? What you're doing is like Tanya Harding, who sabotaged Nancy Kerrigan, insisting that you go on with the Olympics anyway, and that you give her a gold medal, except for it's worse than that. It's sabotaging everybody who doesn't have her racial qualities. In that case, it'll be the color of the hair or something. We're drawing a parallel here. You should understand what I'm saying. Any questions, put in the comments.